Welcome, you're watching a special broadcast on NewsX. Tonight, we fight the filth because when Union Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar went to Mumbai and he reviewed the garbage crisis in the maximum city, even his entire calculation was that the situation is not good. But how is it that when it comes to all VIP districts, VIP zones and all the capital cities across the length and breadth of India, we don't see a garbage crisis there, we don't see rotting sewage, we don't see rotting garbage dumps at all? Can this garbage class apartheid ever be ended? Can the SOS from Mumbai actually be heard in the rest of India? We've sent our correspondents right across the length and breadth of this country in all the major cities to expose the situation which exists on the ground. Let's listen into these ground reports and then open it up.
While Union Minister Prakash Javadekar stresses on how to meet the centre's ambitious plan of Swachh Bharat mission, somewhere streamlining of waste management is essential. Many places in Mumbai, a river has been reduced to nala, where sewage, garbage and industrial waste is dumped, while at many places riverbed has been lost to encroachments and roads and developments. We see that how one such open water drain is this in Dharavi, where we see garbage, plastic waste and other waste material being accumulated, making it difficult for sewage water to pass. Well, regular cleaning is must, which is hardly seen by BMC somewhere, and clogging the drain and causing the flood on the roads and the streets of Mumbai. With video journalist Shrikant Vardhaman, this is Urvashi Khona for NewsX.
After Prakash Javadekar focused on the need for more waste management to improve the Swachh Bharat mission, we are here at one of the sewage pipes over here in Defence Colony of the national capital. Clearly seeing over. After Prakash Javadekar focused on the need for more waste management to improve the Swachh Bharat mission, we are here at one of the sewage pipes over here in Defence Colony of the national capital. Clearly seeing over here all the garbage being dumped inside this particular nala, which is in fact meant only for sewage purposes. In fact, for years the garbage has been dumped over here and it continues to get dumped. There absolutely no effort being made to clear this out. You can clearly see over here the entire, in fact, sewage lane over here has been entirely filled with garbage. In fact, clearly resonating on the point that Prakash Javadekar made, stating that of course there needs to be more attention paid to waste management to really fulfill the Swachh Bharat mission. With video journalist Imran Abbas, Iknoor Kaur for NewsX, New Delhi.
This is a picture of Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Yes, this is the clear-cut mockery of all the attempts being made by the central government and the state government. You can see we are standing in the middle of Patna city. This is Patna town, and the center of Patna town, this is the biggest dumping ground, inviting many for the new sort of diseases. You can see how these places are becoming dumping ground. This is the main road. We are standing on the flyover, and on my both sides there are huge dump of garbages. You can see 2 full trucks loaded with garbages which are not covered even. As per the rules and norms, the garbage equipment should have been covered, the vehicles which are carrying the garbage should have been covered. But here you can see the picture on the streets of Patna, that how the solid waste management has gone in the vain. You can see we are on the street. This is not any dumping ground. This is the central road of Patna, Gardani Bagh location.
To realize Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, the effort must be on streamlining the waste management system. And here in Chennai, the city's very own Kuam River continues to be problematic for the city corporation. Several efforts to desilk this river has only resulted in vain. We are here at the Mylapore slum development area, and the Kuam poses big problem for the residents over here. It causes health hazards, and several efforts by different regimes here in the state have only failed to desilk the Kuam River. This needs to be done in war footing. In Chennai, video journalist Balsubramaniam, Lokpriya, NewsX.
Okay, let's open this up. We are opening up our call-in lines. This is a national broadcast coming from every city. Joining us on the broadcast, K.T. Ravindran. He's the Dean Emeritus of the Rick School of Built Environment. Also on the broadcast with me, Bijon Mishra. He's a consumer activist, a familiar face here on NewsX, who takes up the cause of the people. Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, he's VC and Director of the Manipal Dwarka Hospital. He's joining us to tell us when the garbage piles up in your nalas and streets, what impact it has. Our phone lines are open. Join us on this broadcast and have your say. Bijon Mishra, the situation is not good. The Union Minister has said it. We know that already. What do we do about it? Because it always happens that the VIP zones in all these cities never have a spot of garbage. It's only where you and I live that the garbage piles up.
Bang on. You see, what we have to understand is the heads have to roll down. You see, the government has to now take action. No salary to be paid to people who are responsible to manage these kind of activities in the municipality. Especially it should start from the senior-most officer. The senior-most officer should get suspended for not doing the work properly, and the citizens should be able to speak up in the local locality wherever the garbage is not getting cleaned on a day-to-day basis. The salary should be stopped of all these people who are paid fat salaries out of taxpayers' money, and it's all paid on time, and we taxpayers are paying all our taxes on time. So why shouldn't we get a clean environment where we live? So what the Honorable Minister has to do now is to show us in action. No more speeches, no more bhashans, no more promises.
Show us the action, make the heads roll, make the people who are in charge accountable. Accountability is the one thing. Before I get in Mr. K.T. Ravindran and Sanjeev Bagai, let me also pull in Sandeep Mishra. He's our first caller joining us from Bhubaneswar. Go ahead, Dr. Mishra.
Good evening, sir. Yeah, it is not that for the first time we are facing rainy season, and it comes every year. And the second thing I would like to tell, every constituency has a elected parliamentarian, either MLA and they have the accountability. So why, instead of asking the officers who are definitely subordinates to the so-called MLA or MP, why the accountability should not be fixed with the elected representatives?
Yes, why not? Why not? The mayors in your towns, not just the babus, who also get elected and keep passing the buck to each other. Let's pull in Professor K.T. Ravindran. Professor K.T. Ravindran, that's the point. Issue of accountability is raised because when we want to deliver, we prove in our country we can deliver. You drive down Lutyens, Delhi, you won't see a spot of garbage, which means we have the capacity to clean up, but we don't do it because in a VIP zone it matters and there's no accountability anywhere else. If a senior minister sees garbage outside his dump, outside his house, he can make a phone call, get it cleared up, because there's accountability, because he has power. The rest of us don't have power.
I fully agree with the previous speaker who was saying that we need to fix accountability because there are people in the government who are receiving salaries for this. But it's even more important that we look at the problem more systemically and not merely as one of removal of garbage by municipality. Now the problem that we are facing is of such a humongous scale that it is not easy for any municipality to deal with this problem. Yeah, in my opinion, we need to look at the entire cycle of production of goods, consumption, and therefore the generation of garbage, and then it's recycling, disposal and recycling.
Give us an assessment, Professor Ravindran, of the actual scale of the problem. You know, besides what we see on the rotting street outside our own homes, what is the scale of the problem here in India?
Well, the scale of the problem is that we are a country of 1.3 billion people, and our GDP is going up every day, and therefore our production of goods and services is increasing every day, and our consumption is going up every day. And most of the garbage that you find on the street are actually packaging material.
Yes, use and throw. Use and throw. That's the problem. Okay, one more caller. Okay, one more caller. Bijon Mishra, I'm coming to you. Srinivasan is calling us. Srinivasan, go ahead.
Yeah, no, actually, when you are coming from Bhiwandi to Kalyan, there is a bridge that is known as Ullasana River Bridge. On your right hand side is Durgadi Killa. On your left hand side, it's like a bridge that filthy has been dumped. You know, it looks like a bridge only. After 8 o'clock or 8:30 in the evening,
that gives very dirty smell surrounding in almost about nearly 1 lakh people are living in that area. You know, that filthy smell is horrible, and the mosquito...
And imagine the disease there, Mr. Srinivasan. Let me get in Dr. Bagai on that thought. Dr. Bagai, we know the situation is not good. The minister has reminded us, but we know the situation is not good. What do we need to fear out of these ticking time bombs in every garbage heap?
I think the first thing which, as a nation, as Indians, we need to understand and do is not to live with mediocrity. There is accountability at various levels, the government, the bureaucracy, the executive, at every level. But unless and until we don't tackle this at a national scale and we put accountability, like many other previous speakers have mentioned, we are only going to have diseases on the rise. It is futile to talk of initially diseases like malaria control replacing malaria eradication. We can't have children and adults dying of typhoid and cholera. These garbage, big heaps which pile up in colonies only propagate diseases like dengue and chikungunya and many other diseases. I think if you look at it in a rational point of view, we are actually living in primitive times. Every citizen is accountable for garbage disposal. But unfortunately, what happens, even the educated class tends to use the road as at any point of time, at any place, a garbage dump. So I think it's an environmental impact, it's a disease impact. The garbage then seeps into the soil. It's a soil pollution. It then gets into the water. The water which we get again for drinking and for sanitation is again wrong. So it's at various levels. But unless and until we have a national policy, and more importantly, unless until it is implemented, it's an impossible task. We'll keep having programs, we'll keep talking about it, but nothing is going to happen.
Nothing will be done.
Unless and until...
Attitudes need to change.
Unless and until an example is set.
Attitudes need to change. There has to be, Sanjeev Bagai says, an end to acceptance of mediocrity, acceptance that this is where we live, this is how our lives are supposed to be, because it hasn't been ever any different. Get used to the smell in Kalyan, as our caller was telling us from Srinivasan there.
Can I...
I'm just coming back to you, sir. John Mishra has been wanting to make a point. Go ahead. An end to acceptance of mediocrity, acceptance that this is where we live, this is how our lives are supposed to be, because it hasn't been ever any different. Get used to the smell in Kalyan, as our caller was telling us from Srinivasan there.
Can I...
I'm just coming back to you, sir. John Mishra has been wanting to make a point. Go ahead.
Can I just make a point?
You see, you look at the developed, you look at the developed countries. You look at the developed countries. How they have done it. It's a principle which is overarching, which is known as the polluters pay principle. You see, all the industry people who are using packaging material must be made responsible to ensure that they are recycled and taken back. Till the industry is not made accountable. You know, the municipalities and all are just agencies which are supposed to facilitate. But the industry has to take the leading role. And this is what we have seen in Germany, I have seen in many developed countries, which is working beautifully. The industry is ensuring that all the garbage which is getting generated because of the packaging materials they are using for selling their products, they are running the whole recycling business in a manner that they are also deriving benefit out of it. And that is the policy which the government has put in under the Swachh Abhiyan, which the Honorable Prime Minister has
stay with me. I want to get in as many voices of the people.
There has to be a deterrent action.
Because when voices speak out, it builds pressure on administration to act. That is the power and the nature of the democracy, which is why we are sitting here on this forum. Amit from Noida, it's your turn. Have your say.
Yeah, so tell me, there are 3 or 4 angles to it. One is, who is generating the garbage? And number 2, who are the people clearing it? So there's just one set of people who are clearing the garbage. It is maybe the government, the municipal committees or whatever. Then there are people, there are commercial setups, there are offices, there are industries who are creating this garbage. Now I was in Sydney late last month. They had a festival called Vivid Sydney. Thousands of people descend on the harbour, and I could not locate one piece of trash on the road. So that is
a tribute to the citizens. I
Yeah,
think
okay. It
citizens
cuts both
vote-
ways.
yeah.
Fair point, Amit.
Right.
Ashok is joining us from Delhi. Ashok, go ahead. Have your say.
Hello.
Go ahead, Ashok.
Yeah, I just want to say, for polluting Yamuna and Ganga, hefty charges have to be paid. If so, why not public places?
Okay. All right. Have hefty litter fines. But how is it, Sanjeev Bagai, how is it, and I come back to the moot point of where we began our discussion, how is it that VIP zones never have a spot of garbage, the garbage employees never go on strike, it's always cleaned up? How is it? Is it because they're transferring that garbage into places where the rest of us live? They pick them up from the VIP zones and send them to where the VIPs don't have to see them, or smell them rather.
No, yeah, I think the local welfare associations, the residential welfare associations, the local community needs to be educated, and unless and until you don't put a deterrent as a fine and implement it, unless until you don't set examples and publicize the examples of people who are polluting the neighborhood, the roads, the water, the soil, we are not going to reach anywhere.
Okay.
There has been a ban on plastic. We've made a national movement in our medical associations against it, but on the ground it is still being there. This is being recycled back into the system, back into the soil, and therefore all the pollution occurs. The waste disposal in terms of various different ingredients need to be identified. In India, we still don't have a national policy of waste disposal of information technology material.
Okay.
These are all materials which actually damage the environment.
Yeah, you're
There is
talking about
nothing
all
which we
sorts
can
of
do with
mercury
old
poisoning and
computers,
lead
with old
poisoning,
cell phones,
asking
old
for trouble.
batteries.
Okay,
They
Dr.
rot
Bhai,
on
stay
the
with me.
streets, and this is
I want to
what
get in a
happens.
few more voices. Vijay from Goa. Vijay, go ahead. Have your say.
I have a unique solution. Make me the Prime Minister for 1 year, but don't tell me, don't sack this person, he's my uncle, and don't do this because the party will lose the elections. And you see how quickly the problem goes away. Many of the problems vanish. I'll just sack 1,000 or 2,000 people in the first month, and you just see how quickly the
Okay, you're coming back to the issue of accountability. Professor Ravindran, issue of accountability. There is accountability in the administration, and there is accountability, you're talking about systemic planning, but often happens that we have the funds, we have the plans in place, but nobody implements them on the ground. So who's accountable? Should a mayor be responsible in the inner city? When this kind of filth is available, is seen, should a mayor be responsible? Do we even know who our mayors are? Do we even notice? Because they're never doing anything.
Absolutely, the mayor must be made responsible. And also there is some fundamental problems about the way we are treating our garbage. We are trying to centralize their treatment. We are trying to centralize sewage treatment. Instead of this, we need to decentralize the treatment. We need to treat them locally. When waste is generated in a colony, it should be treated within the colony. This is the only method that's going to work. The more centralized we have, the more public money is spent on large plants and less functional they are.
Okay, localize it. I'm going to do my duty in public service. I'm going to request my producers on the side of your screens, put out the photographs of all the mayors in all these capital cities, so that all our viewers today know who is responsible, who is the person in charge, who many people have voted into power. These mayors are elected by you. These are the person. Let's put those entire list out on your screen. I'm going to ask my producers to pull that out. More callers joining us. Amit from Hyderabad, Subramaniam from Mysore. Amit, you go first.
Hello.
Can you hear us, Amit? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi. First of all, a very nice thing you are covering. It was a major issue. I would like to highlight one of the things. As you mentioned, the VVIP areas and common residents. I stay next to Rashtrapati Nilayam in Hyderabad, not quite far from Rashtrapati Nilayam, Hyderabad. The time Pranab Mukherjee arrived in Hyderabad, my colony where I stay has become a garbage dumping ground. I can send you the pictures right away if you want it.
That is exactly the problem, Amit. This is the problem we highlighted at the top. Have a look at on your screens. VIP Delhi, the Akbar roads, the Ashoka roads, where the big party offices are, where the MPs live, spotless clean. Rest of Delhi, dumping ground. Amit is a witness of that. Subramaniam from Mysore, go ahead.
Yeah, sir, what is interesting, see, the thing is that even the higher ups also, they have no idea. In fact, in Mysore, the situation is not this one. It's like other cities only. In fact, I had a meeting and the DC, actually there is no proper strategy for dumping the waste and there is no treatment at all. In fact, DC told that they have identified 2 abandoned mines to dump. And is it a way to treat this?
Okay, yeah, you know, the shock and alarm in your voice is obvious. Thank you, Mr. Subramanian, for pointing it out on a national forum. Hopefully some powers that be are listening into this broadcast, because we're going to put those questions to them at 9 o'clock tonight on this channel. I put out, as promised, on the extreme right side of your screen, these are the mayors, the people principally responsible for these kind of cleaning activities, service activities in your city, minus the politics. Dr. Bagai wanted to make a point. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I have 2 simple points. It's amazing that not only being in the medical fraternity, but we as Indian citizens have learned to accept death as a natural consequence of living in India of causes which are preventable. It's the most crazy concept which everyone has learned to accept. This can't be tolerated. This is unacceptable, and a lot of it is with environmental pollution, which is wrong disposal of garbage and inadequate approach towards the full system. And the second point which I would like to make is that you have basically 2 streams of work. One is private and the second is government. It's amazing how a private employee can be sacked because of non-performance.
Exactly.
The government employees cannot take their job for granted.
Okay.
If you're non-performing, you're sacked. Just see how they will work then.
In fact, Bijon Mishra is with me. Bijon Mishra, a caller has just told us exactly what the problem is. He said he lives in Hyderabad in a colony next to the central VIP zone where the powerful players live, and all the garbage from that place gets dumped in his colony. This is also the problem. It's a mindset issue as well.
Not only that, you see, it is an issue of the influentials, the opinion makers in our community, not waking up to do something which is for the community. You know, they tolerate, you know, like I would tell you, you know, the voiceless consumers or citizens, we can't blame them. We have to blame the people who are influential, you know, who take favors, who do not want to do anything for the community. And they take fat salaries, you know, for doing all kinds of policy work, and they don't want to look at the basics which are needed to be done. I don't understand how they are there in those high up offices when they can't even do what is the minimum required in terms of health and safety of the citizens.
Okay.
I mean, it is not that something a rocket science they need to do.
Okay, gentlemen, I have a couple of minutes left. I'm going to go across the panel.
To be taken.
Okay, I'm going to go across the panel. Let me start with you, Professor Ravindran. What are the 3 things that you want to see done quickly that are achievable?
Not that something a rocket science they need to do.
Okay, gentlemen, I have a couple of minutes left. I'm going to go across the panel.
To be taken.
Okay, I'm going to go across the panel. Let me start with you, Professor Ravindran. What are the 3 things that you want to see done quickly that are achievable goals, not long-term, having to form committee kind of goals? 3 simple things you want the government to do. We have a premise of a Swachh Bharat Abhiyan now. What are the 3 things you want to see done?
The first thing is to see that the central government brings out a policy by which they make it compulsory for every industry to take back the packaging material that they generate and reuse them as new packaging material. This is the first thing. The second thing is that we pin down accountability for people who are supposed to deliver their job and make sure that they deliver the job. Third thing is that we have to also think about where we are dumping this garbage. If all the garbage in India is actually collected, where are we going to find the land to dump them?
Okay,
we need to do some radical thinking, rethinking on our disposal policy.
Okay, all right. Stay with me, Professor Ravindran. One last caller, then I'll take my final thoughts from my guest. Balan from Thane. Balan, what do you feel? Go ahead.
Hello, good evening, sir. Thank you for accepting my call. I was just listening to your, the discussions what has been taking. So my thing is that, see, as an individual, if you approach to this bureaucrats or mayors or these people, they don't listen to you. They don't ignore even the municipal corporation. You go for municipal corporation or any government bodies. As an individual, they will discard you. So best thing of this is that each location should have a group and they should fight together.
Okay, you know, Balan, go to your mayor. We are putting out a WhatsApp number at the bottom of your screens. Record him. record him on your phone and send us the video. We'll name them and shame them when they refuse to answer your summons. Satya Prakash from Delhi. Satya Prakash, what are your thoughts?
Yes, now this is a mountain of a problem, and it needs a separate authority or department. It needs recycling. There is no proper recycling done. We had a representation from Lahore in the seminar done here about 3 years back, 3 to 4 years back. They mentioned the whole dump of this garbage has to be recycled properly in different stages.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem. But you know, practical solutions, it has to start with someone actually doing it. Dr. Bagai, final thoughts with you, sir. 3 things you want to see done.
I think one should be a national policy on waste production and waste disposal. I would like to see a nationwide campaign to educate every citizen of India on waste disposal. And third is I would like to see punitive fines and punishment as far as deterrent is concerned for people who are not doing their job.
Okay, we are debating this at 9 o'clock. We'll put out those points up for debate on the show tonight at 9. But for now, Bijon Mishra, Dr. Bagai, as well as Professor Ravindran, thanks very much for joining us on our broadcast, and all our callers for calling in with your thoughts. Public voice is very, very important in a democracy. We are wrapping up. More news and updates on the other side. Back with headlines with Jujar Singh in 3 minutes. Don't go anywhere.